4 steps I take from my bed to the floor. 5, 6, 7, 8. Will today be rough or will today be great? 9, 10, 11, 12. Lately I've been going through hell. 13, 14, 15, 16. Today's the day. Are you coming? Are you sick of being normal? I'm sick of being average. I'm sick of being mortal. I'm about to be a savage. I see a lot of things that I want, I will have them. I got a new mindset that I just established. I'll march through the cold with the nails on the pavement. I'll shovel that coal just to get out the basement. My story will be told, helping others make changes. I'll be so bold, they will watch in amazement.
Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it. Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it.
Foot up on the pedal, pushing hard to the metal. Make a deal with the devil. Channel rage through my vessel into something that is special. Energy of a rebel, going up a level. I just wanna be greatness. I could feel changes, turn a new page and tie up my laces. I will be the bravest, break out of my cages. I will not be nameless, I will not be aimless.
Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it. Am I gonna face it? Am I gonna chase it? Am I gonna start over? I keep waiting. Time is limited, quickly fading. Get my mind right, it's my time to take it.
All right, what is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with episode 172 of the Locked In Podcast. What's up, Locked In Nation? Thanks for tuning in tonight and rolling with us. Well, welcome back, returning guest, OG to the podcast, Rich Mitchell. Rich, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming on tonight.
What up? What up? Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, glad to have you here, bro. We got Mario coming on shortly, too. This kind of lines actually more up with around the time when he was going to come on anyway, so it's perfect. What we're going to be talking about tonight, guys, is we're going to be talking about societal or social traps, essentially, to avoid. There's a lot of distractions in this life. You know, we have our mission, we have our purpose, but there's a lot of pleasure out there, and pleasure is not necessarily a bad thing, but when it controls the majority of your life, it definitely is. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about woke culture as well. Talk a little bit about that and how that kind of ties into societal traps as well. And we're also going to talk about leveling up in 2024. So just some things that are important to us. We don't have to go specific about our goals, but just some things that we want to be better at, maybe certain areas of life and just important areas of life to kind of level up. We've talked trifecta of personal development here, relationships, your health, your wealth, things of that nature. So we'll get into that a little bit. It's going to be very free-flowing. I just want to make a comment too. So StreamYard with the fuckery, they started some shit a couple weeks ago with Facebook. So it's hard I can't put comments up here from Facebook, which kind of sucks. YouTube I still can, but I do have the podcast linked to Facebook. It looks like in the private group we're linked, but we're having a little bit of an issue with we have two groups, a private and a public group. The public group, we're having a little bit of trouble with the stream key here, so I'll try to figure that out as we're going. And any comments on Facebook, I'm going to monitor them from my phone. So if I see stuff come through, I will address the comments. Even though I can't put them on the screen, I'll still read them. And so Thomas actually commented on Facebook, and he said, what's goody? And I said, Thomas, what's up, brother? Thank you for joining in, man. Good to have you back watching the show, brother. So I'll just read the Facebook ones out loud. I'm going to try to find a workaround in the coming weeks for it. I'm not sure if there is. It's kind of stupid, to be honest. Like, I really wish you could just throw the Facebook comments up. But if you are watching on YouTube, you can still comment, and I can still throw your comments here on the screen. So if you're on YouTube, feel free to comment. I'll throw your comments up. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And there's a little bell icon. You want to hit that too to turn those notifications on. We release content every single week, either related to personal development or sports, so you don't want to miss that. A lot of big changes coming to the channel soon. If you're watching on Facebook, I'm assuming you're already part of the group, so thank you for that. If you like what you see, hit the like button. Also, feel free to comment down below. As I said, I will address your comments here on the pod tonight, so feel free to comment in. That being said, man, we can just kind of hop into it here. Rich, I always like to shout out your channel every single time we do one of these, man. So for the people out there, man, just let us know what your YouTube channel is, man. I'll throw that on the screen real quick.
Of course, my YouTube channel is Rich and Media. We tackle a lot of Eagles content, whether it be highlights, whether it be draft analysis, whether it be just general opinions of post-game thoughts, things of that nature. That's all going to be on my channel. And of course, we do have some content, of course, from the Locked In podcast. And again, I always say go to the source first and then check out Rich and Media on YouTube while you're at it.
Yeah, definitely check Rich out, guys. If you're a Philadelphia sports fan, specifically those Philadelphia Eagles there, Rich talks everything birds. It's very niche-focused football. Eagles. So if you're an Eagles fan, check out Rich's content. You definitely will not be disappointed. He's a great channel going on over there. So I'm excited, man, to see what you got going on for the rest of this year, man, and a lot more collaborations to come.
Yeah, I'm just excited for what's up next for the training camp. We just completed or in the process of, rookie mini camp. So I'm just really happy. We got a lot of things to look forward to. Our offensive coordinator's first press conference was today. So I look forward to just getting into that stuff at a later time. But in the meantime, just grateful to be here on your podcast as usual. Grateful to hear some of the tough topics and some of the things that could be controversial that I love. You know me, I'm no stranger to that. So I love talking about it.
Yeah, we discuss controversial stuff here, man. It's just this is how it kind of has to be. There's nothing wrong with ever discussing things controversial. It depends on who you're talking certain things with. Some people can't have those types of conversations. It's not maybe not that they can't have them, but they like their mindset is a certain spot where it's like if they have those types of those types of conversations around certain topics, it's just like I don't know, like it's not without judgment or like anything like that. They have to like there's always some sort of judgment or something. So it depends. Like I think these conversations are very important to have though. Like I said, a lot of things surrounding like woke culture and things of that nature. Woke culture was kind of started out as like, and it was more of awareness of racial injustice. That's how it started out, and that's completely fine. That's something that we should have more awareness of. But me and Rich were like talking before we kind of hopped in here. A lot of what wokeness is now, it's like everything you have to be politically correct. It's more so like a lot of judgment a certain way. Like essentially somebody can have an opinion. If you don't agree with their opinion, you're personally attacked for not agreeing with that opinion. So like, oh, if you don't believe this, oh, you're racist. If you don't believe this, you're sexist, or like, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of what we see today. Very unfortunate. And we can talk about this too. Society's become very, very sensitive, I think, like overly sensitive to the point where like, it's just like we're becoming, especially as men, completely fucking soft. Like it's just, you're seeing more feminism, especially in men and stuff like that. Like it's really crazy out here. And, we always say this, we need masculine men, without them, society will completely crumble. So there's a lot, it's a lot to unpack, but essentially it started out as awareness of racial, social injustice, and it's really ballooned into more so political correctness. I'm not sure what your thoughts are. I know we were talking a little bit behind the scenes on that.
Yeah, no, I'll shoot. So for me, in my opinion, sometimes wokeness, like you said, it started to as a to confront social injustice, but like in my opinion, like it's kind of snowballed into something that's like more so actually helping people who are for that injustice. And let me explain to you what I mean by that. Like I feel like, as you know, a lot of big companies, a lot of organizations are emphasize things like Black History Month or emphasize certain activities now surrounding wokeness. They'll parade around, some of the black leadership in their companies, or some of the people that maybe they'll make a commercial that has a black kid in it or something like that, or that's catered towards black people, for instance. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no racism in your organization. And I think that a lot of wokeness and political correctness actually does a better job of like hiding it, actual racism. And I mean, even with the Black Lives Matter movement and what we've discovered with what they did with the funds in that movement, it was people stealing from that within that movement. And so it helps people who, I feel like, we're so focused on trying to be politically correct and trying to attack people who we don't agree with, that we're missing out on who is the enemy who's right in front of us, those people who lie, cheat, and steal, right? So my dad always would tell me there's a person who's righteous and a person who's unrighteous. Now, obviously, righteous, he doesn't mean there's people who are perfect and not perfect, but there's people who go out into the world and their intentions are not good, and there's people who go out into the world and their intentions are good, and for me, I do think that when you're able to disguise yourself under the guise of a movement that is so focused on how people look and not actually how people treat each other, you're more inclined to be able to actually get away with treating people unfairly, just regardless of race or background. The people who were stealing from Black Lives Matter were black people. Let's get that out the way first and foremost. And then on top of that, we could argue that some of the people who we think are against us, or some of the people who we think are, and I work for a nonprofit, right? So I work with um, law enforcement entities on how to rehabilitate a lot of kids who are getting in trouble. Just to give you a little small background on what I do. And so I work with kids on trying to rehabilitate themselves through counseling in order to not have things like assault charges or theft charges stick on their records for the rest of their life. So, I mean, sometimes, I understand that we have to have debates, and a part of this government is being a democracy. And there's going to be a right and there's going to be a left. There's always, and that's the beauty in our government, is that there's no one way of thinking. That is how it's supposed to work. And I think over the years, certain movements, and it's not just the woke movement, it's other movements as well on the other end of the spectrum as well that don't want to hear. There's you got the Trumpers, and then you got the people who are super liberal and they're going back and forth, and it's just two different sides of the extreme, and to the point where no one wants to hear anybody. No one wants to, kind of have a conversation without being disrespectful. And so you have yours extreme when we're storming the government. When they stormed the House of Representatives, I believe it was, or Capitol Hill, when they stormed that. And then you got your extremes where you got the Black Lives Matter, where we're destroying stores and destroying our own neighborhoods. So it's just wrong on both ends. And really, the government is supposed to work like, really, the government is the thing that we're supposed to challenge. We're not supposed to be challenging and fighting each other within the society. And I think that's where a lot of Americans have it twisted. We're supposed to welcome the differences, not allow them to divide us. So, yeah.
Yeah, very well said, man. Very well said, Rich. I just want to welcome in Mario, again, OG to the podcast, another returning guest. Mario, what's up, brother? Thanks for joining us tonight.
So, man, thank you guys so much for having me, man. I tried to get here as soon as I could.
Yeah, man, no problem, bro. We actually were having a good conversation behind the scenes, man. So we didn't want to go on live till about 20. What were we? 15 minutes live right now. So we didn't get live until about 15 minutes ago. So, yeah, man, this is an interesting topic tonight. Rich said it very well there. A lot. So we kind of started off talking about woke culture here. So I do agree with that, Rich. That a lot of times these movements are built to kind of distract us. And there's a lot of people that kind of come in as politically correct, but what there ultimately is under the guise of actually, like you said, with Black Lives Matter, steal money. Like a lot of it is just built to divide. So like it's a divisive device, if you will. Like it's just these movements a lot of times they come in to divide us, and they want us to fight and argue amongst each other. But and then when we're doing that, and everybody's arguing and going a certain way, they under the guise of a solid political movement, what they're doing is they're actually hoping you turn the other way so that they can go, and there's some other big horrible agenda going on behind the scenes. And a lot of this stuff today, I just think it is built to divide. Like the politically correct stuff, it's like if you can't have a mature conversation with someone without having to personally attack the person because they don't agree with your views, that right there is the issue, and that's the problem. Like if someone doesn't agree with my views, now when I was younger, and very immature, like like high school days and stuff like that, it'd be different. You always feel like you got to convince somebody to your side of the argument. But I don't really see it as an argument. It's just an honest adult conversation. Somebody might have a certain view, and if they don't agree with my views, that's okay. Sometimes I'll ask them like their logic behind it because I really want to understand like their viewpoint and their thinking. But I'm never going to try to convince somebody to my side of the view, like of my views, because there's no such thing as like right or wrong views. Everybody can have certain views. I think it becomes a problem when someone has certain views and they try to push those views on you. And if you don't agree with them, they start to personally attack you. And I've seen it many times. I've had it happen to me. Like to me, I don't react to that. I just say, hey, look, if we can't have an adult conversation about it, there's no sense in trying to progress this conversation further. But I've seen it myself. I'm sure you've seen it. Rich, I know we were talking this morning about something. It's more so just like, I'll just give an example. Like I won't say the exact thing, but if somebody like shares a certain meme, oh, you're racist, like because you shared something, it's taken out of context. It's not actually racist. It's just you push your views onto somebody, or so they like a lot of times. I feel like when a lot of people judge people a certain way, this isn't always the case. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but a lot of times they might be harboring. Say if they like, oh, you're racist for this, and it's not actually something that is racist. I'm not saying if you post something that is racist, I'm racist, but if they just try to take something out of context. And context is very important. They try to take something out of context because it doesn't agree with their view. Maybe they're harboring some sort of racism or something,
Exactly.
And they try to project that onto you. But you see it on social media, like people will call people out just to call people out, like, and it's like that. Yeah, but that's like an attack of character, like in a public forum. It's like like don't put me into a certain box because you're projecting something else. But it's just kind of how it is. I like how you put the Black Lives Matter thing with like under the guise of like stealing at the same time. And you ever notice when there's like a lot of drama going on in the media, a lot of times people go, oh, what are they distracting us from? Because it always feels like there's some type of distraction going on behind the scenes that they want us to focus on that so that we turn the other cheek and we don't see something else that's going on.
Right.
A lot of these movements though, man, especially with the woke culture stuff, it's just built to divide. Like it's
like
essential.
Even feminism has transformed into what feminism was originally intended to be is not anything like what it is today whatsoever. So old school feminism was about equality, right? Was about being able to not have to hit these glass ceilings in the professional environments, and for women to be able to professionally have a choice whether they want to marry and have a family or whether they want to work. I feel like, every human should be able to have a choice to do what they want to do. And then also when birth control came out, I think that's kind of when things started to go downhill in the sense of, okay, what's its intended use, right? and what is it now being used for, and what's being encouraged behind it. So birth control is not inherently good or bad. It is just a thing that can be used, right? Anything can be turned to be used as a good thing or a bad thing. So it's a difference between someone getting on birth control, and obviously people have free reign over their bodies. So you're gonna, if you're a woman and you choose to take birth control, obviously that's your choice. But then it goes into, okay, is that choice really the best choice for yourself? Is going on birth control going to encourage you to make the best decisions for yourself? And that's obviously a big topic, right? That has many different opinions and many different layers. So inherently, topics like this is where people become very personal, right? They get very personal. Why? Because they take, okay, if I'm a woman, it's my body, I should make my choice, right? And then there's on another side where it's like, okay, birth control is good, but we don't believe in it. There's religious reasons behind it. And then it goes down into abortion and which is a whole other big topic. But just going back into the source of what I was talking about, the feminist movement has almost been kind of changed into a more extremist point of view, in the sense of men. It's something wrong now that men want to do things which are, you know, seen as manly, or in our society, if a man wants to chug a couple beers, you know what I'm saying, and drive his truck and go to work and come home and to a family with a nicely cooked meal and his kids, it's an issue now.
Yeah,
It's an issue now. Am I right or am I wrong?
you're
A
right.
lot of times men are
Right.
attacked for kind of wanting to say, I want to do things traditionally, right?
Yeah, we're attacked for traditionalism now. It's like if you're not a feminist man, a feminine man, who's essentially anything that's actually masculine now is considered. What we talked about this on a podcast episode too. Toxic masculinity now. Just
I
for
hate women.
Yeah,
Now because
essentially.
of that.
Exactly. So it goes with everything. It goes with not just racism, but it goes with you're sexist. You hate women. It's like everybody's judging you for a certain thing. Oh, you have this viewpoint, and that's why context is so key. If you have a conversation and the person just gets completely ignoring the context, that's it. That's, you already know what type of person you're dealing with, right off the bat. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, context is so important. Somebody can try to take something out of proportion and just try to attack you because you have a certain view. Like I said, Rich, we were talking about something on a meme this morning. I'm not, going to go really into it, but like, it was just something like somebody made a comment because it was like a basketball meme. Oh, you're racist. Like, like, it's crazy. Like, people just out here, like, with so much hatred inside their hearts that they want to go out and try to reach on any type of topic. The thing is, like, we obviously can't be too reactive to it. It's just more so, just understanding it, recognizing it. And those type of people, like, I just choose not to associate with. If you're going to, there's just always going to be people like that. It's really becoming worse today, though, more than ever. I think with social media and entitlement and just like the craziness, like, that the media kind of spews. I'm not sure what your thoughts on it, Mario, but Rich, I think you're like spot on there.
Nah, I mean, woke culture has been a cancer for society, and it's clearly starting to show with all these protests, with social media, the poisoning of, young minds out there and stuff like that. I think we covered it a few weeks ago with the whole music industry and all that shit, man. Everybody's going woke and stuff like that. It's clearly an agenda to try to destroy people and shit like that. It's an agenda to destroy the communities. Going back to what Rich was saying in regards to feminism, I mean, there's clearly an attack on masculinity out there. It's pretty obvious now at this point. The stats don't even lie. I mean, they're trying to destroy the nuclear family. They don't want any more strong families or whatnot, man. They want everybody to be, strong and independent, all that bullshit. I mean, everybody's losing their values, everybody's losing their culture, everybody's losing respect. And it's just sad to see what society's really, really become.
It really is, man. Yeah, the word cancer is a perfect word for it, man. Perfect word for it.
Yeah.
People are like losing their values and their morals. You're right. It's just, people aren't standing for solid morals anymore, solid values. They're not standing. They're just, it's a lot of negativity. It's crazy. It's like, it's all a distraction though, because a lot of people rather focus on the drama and the divisiveness than actually make follow their purpose in this life. That's why I honestly think the media and like this divisiveness with woke culture, like the divide here, it's actually one of the societal traps. It's a big societal trap. It's one of these things that like if you like the media tries to get people to buy into this, like, oh, you know, you got to think this way, and then you got liberal media one way, and you got conservative media the other way. And essentially, what it is it's a divisive force to try to divide us as individuals. That's the scariest thing for society, and in a good way, to come together. The power of community. That's a scary thing for our government and our free thinking. They don't want that. They'd rather us be divided. It's a big societal trap, though. You know, we have to, as individuals, recognize that they're trying to divide and be like, hey, look, you know, I'm going to think for myself, my own free thinking. That's the power of free thinking, is you have the ability to make your own decisions. You don't have to sit there and listen to whatever talking head on television is spewing to you. You know, you have the ability to think freely. But we have to be better because it's really crazy. That's woke culture is one of the biggest societal traps right now. There's other ones we'll get into. We've talked about here before. You know, media. You know, too much consumption of media, too much consumption of pornography, a lot of other negative things. But woke culture is a big one.
Yeah, you said it, man. You said, remember what you said, bro. You said, the importance of community. Well, they're trying to destroy the family, and what happens when you destroy the family, bro? You end up destroying the community and shit like that.
Yep.
And another thing, I don't know if you guys mentioned this before I got on, but I think censorship is huge. That's a big problem as well,
Yep.
because if you guys noticed, like prior to Elon Musk buying Twitter, imagine how many people got canceled or got their tweets deleted because they thought of a certain way or they had a different opinion than what was actually being spun or whatnot. I think censorship is huge, and you have to allow people to have open and honest discussions about really, really difficult topics. But because thanks to woke culture and woke media and stuff like that, people are just starting having an opportunity to have those types of conversations.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and that's a big thing too. So it's essentially it's all an agenda. It's like one person can say one thing and be completely fine, but then the other person might speak up against it. They censor it. So it's essentially you don't get to see the full picture. You don't get to see both sides. You get to see one side, how they generate it, and it's like you see it all the time. You see it not just with the media, but you see it on social media too. YouTube. I've seen YouTube channels, like you see demonetization of certain YouTube channels, certain things. It's like when they don't like what you're putting out there, they censor you. But the funniest thing is we live in the freest country in the world, right? Supposedly, like we live in the freest country in the world, and freedom of speech is one of the like it's literally one of the parts of
yeah, other people, man, other people in other countries, man, are dying to have the freedoms that we have over here, man. I mean, they're dying to get that freedom. They're dying to have a constitution, man. They're dying to be free. And we have it, and to see what it's become, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. It's literally one of our amendments. It's one of our rights as a United States, like freedom of speech. And it's like I guess it's the first one. So it's the First Amendment. The First Amendment is freedom of speech. And it's like, and it's just, it's crazy. It's, censorship and everything like that. It's completely true. So it's like they try to divide you, but then if you don't agree with that's a perfect example. Is if you don't agree with what I have to say, I'm just going to censor you. It's just
that's what they're trying to do with the Bible right now in California. They're trying to ban certain parts of the Bible and what they don't like. So I mean, that's just another example. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech.
Exactly.
It's like they're trying to push forth this bill right now that's gonna kind of start conversations about. So we ban this, and I think it's preposterous, man. I honestly think it's a horrible thing because I feel like everyone should be able to have the freedom to express how to agree, but to tell someone, oh, who's experienced certain things in life, because everyone has their own experiences. This is how people form their opinions, is through their experiences. And so everyone has their own experiences in life. And if someone has a certain point of view, how do you not know through conversation, if you think, even if you think their opinion is ignorant, right? How do you not know if you don't have a conversation about how you not know if you can help each other learn some things? Instead you ban someone from talking. So what that's going to essentially do is counterproductive. Remember I said, Steve, how the woke culture kind of actually helps, it actually hides racism more so than brings it out in the open. because people are afraid to say their opinions. They're afraid to say how they really feel. So then all the people who are racist don't even get a chance to even express how they feel, or express in a way, have a conversation about why they feel this way. To even take the, if you, the ignorance out, they don't even get a chance to have a conversation about it. So they get the second they say something that, oh, I'm offended, I'm ready to attack you. Where it's like, really, our society is just sensitive, man. Because you really, the attitude should really be, oh, if that's how you feel, well, how did it get like that? What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's your environment look like? But no, instead it's like, oh, I'm offended. Yeah, they shouldn't be allowed. He's a scumbag. He shouldn't be allowed to say anything. Really, I wish we could lock all these people up who are like this and throw away the key. That's the wrong mindset.
Yeah. And even with some people, like you said, it kind of hides racism, if anything. So there, and you ever notice there's people that are like doing too much, like they might defend a certain race just to like act politically correct, like, oh, like this and that, but you can tell when they're like doing a little bit too much, like it's like they're kind of overreaching a little bit. It's like those people might be the people that honestly are racist, but what they're doing is they're trying to overdo it to make sure that they don't get looked at that way. But that's the thing, you're right. It's people don't share their opinions freely because they're afraid of not being politically correct. But the thing is, if people actually share their opinions, we can have an honest conversation about it. When you cover things up and kind of walk on eggshells, people can't really be themselves. You can't really be yourselves. We can't have an honest conversation, and we can't meet in the middle somewhere if we can't have these honest conversations. Like walking around with fear of censorship, even on like YouTube, being on this platform and stuff, it's like, you see how other channels get demonetized when people say things that they don't like or something like that. It's not what they want to see. But like, we can't live life that way. Like just worrying about being censored or walking on eggshells for being politically correct and everything like that. We have become super sensitive as a society, and it's really crazy.
Why was Fresh and Fit demonetized? Does anyone know? I know, Marius, I know you watch Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, I'll let Mario say that.
They never actually like specified. That was a decision that was made by YouTube. I'm assuming it's probably because of all the controversial guests that they brought on. I think they brought on a guy that talked about like the conspiracies of 9/11. I know they brought on Nick Fuentes and stuff like that. So they brought on really, really controversial guests, and I think what happened was a lot of people complained, and I think YouTube ended up just demonetizing them. But the funny part is they're still going strong. I mean, they still got a big network of people. They're still getting thousands of views on Rumble. They're still getting plenty of views on YouTube. And I'm not even making that up. You can check out the numbers for yourself. But I think that was the main reason why they brought on a lot of controversial guests and they discussed a lot of controversial things. So they never actually like specified. I think in one stream they said that behind the scenes they were having a conversation with YouTube about trying to have the platform not from getting demonetized. But I think that was just a decision that was made by YouTube specifically. So now if you notice when you watch their streams, Steve actually brought this up, I think a week ago. They don't, you've noticed like there's like no ads that are actually like built in on YouTube. It's like all the ads from like third party and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, it is what it is, man. I mean, that's just one of the sad realities of the, society that we're living in today. And it goes back to censorship, man. I mean, they're trying to censor people, especially now. Pay very, very close attention this year because remember, it's an election year. So they're going to be watching everything. So it's not just even Fresh and Fit. I mean, other YouTubers have had their shit, they've had plenty of videos get deleted and stuff like that. So just be on the lookout for that because it's an election year. So they're going to be paying attention to everything you say.
Yep, exactly. If you don't agree with their viewpoint.
Yep. Especially the political ones. I can't imagine how dirty that shit's going to get, dude. Yeah, oh my god.
It's gonna get bad, man. When you think about it, what is an election campaign always? What are they? It's to tear down the other person. Like that's always how it's been. It's like it's to make negative ads about the other person. That's just always how it's been. I mean, obviously, there's no fair fighting when it comes to this stuff. It's just kind of how it is.
Well, all these politicians are dirty. They're just trying to see which one's the less dirty one. They're all dirty.
Exactly. That's my thoughts on it. To be honest, when I make a decision on a political like person, I just think who's the best person to run my country. So it's just that's the thing. It's just kind of how it is. But you're right, man. It's an election year, man. So it's gonna get really, really messy, man. It's gonna get dirty this year, man. With that.
Mm-hmm.
censorship and all that stuff, man, it gets worse on these types of years.
Especially with what happened back in 2020 with the whole mail-in ballots bullshit and all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
It's going to get even more intense this year, dude. I mean, they're going to they're going to go crazy about just every single little thing. So,
agreed.
Yeah,
agreed, man. But I like, and that's enough. That a political thing is actually a great point, too, as in terms of woke culture. So I've had friends who like, like I don't ever push my my political views on anybody, and I'm not a very political person, to be honest. Like I'm more of a free thinker. I don't lean one way or the other. Like I'm not like, heavily just believe everything. I would say I lean one way more than the like obviously more than the other, but I would say I don't believe every single thing I hear though either. I'm a free thinker. So, but I will say this, like I've had friends like, try to push like a person who they're voting for on me and stuff, like, reach out. Oh, what, you're voting for that dude? He's a fucking scumbag. Like, oh, how are you gonna root for that? Like, it's like, dude, like I would never ever try to reach out to somebody and ever tell them like, who you can vote for. But that's like a perfect example though. Like the media like will stir shit up and people will believe stuff, even if they don't have all the facts, and they'll just like try to push a certain thing on you. It's like, dude, we can agree to disagree. Like I don't have to have the same view as you. That's okay. We can try to understand each other and understand our logic behind something. But at the end of the day, it's like I don't have to convince you to my side. You don't have to convince me to yours. That's okay. It's just, I don't know, man. It's just become crazy. Like you never really ever used to see this type of stuff like as much back in the day. I feel like today with like it's just been even worse with social media and like the actual just media and like everything is just crazy today. But there's a lot of divisiveness going on.
Yeah, I think I remember 4 years ago the COVID vaccine, how that divided everybody, man. Remember anybody who spoke out about that? Remember anybody who spoke out about getting the COVID shot? What were the label had? They were labeled as a hater. They were labeled as a conspiracy theorist. I mean, look what they did to Joe Rogan. Look how they came after him after Joe Rogan spoke out about the vaccine and shit like that. It's like that divisiveness that's destroying society.
It's crazy that they used to give a label to people too. Like if you were for the vaccine, you were considered liberal. If you were not for the vaccine, you were considered, oh, you're a racist, you're conservative, you're a hater. So like either way, they put you in a box. Like it's crazy. Even though you could like say you're a conservative viewer and you still got the vaccine because you believed in it. Like people don't ever really think of free thinking anymore. It's more so like, oh, like if you like something, you're that category. It's like they put you in a box, which is just crazy. Like that's a perfect example of divisiveness. And all this woke culture shit, man. It's wild. It's like, this is the beauty of free thinking. We live in considered the freest country on earth. You have the ability to think freely. Look over in North Korea. They don't have that ability. Like what they're shown on TV and the media and everything is all, I don't even know the words. Propaganda. Perfect. Exactly. It's all propaganda. It's all fed to them like through a straw. It's
they
like
even lie about the World Cup results, talking about North Korea won the World Cup. Like, what are you talking about, yo? Like,
bro, like
what type
for
of
real.
time are they on, man? It's
exactly
horrible.
Communism, man. But it's like it's just, yeah, it's all propaganda. It's like we live in a country where we can make our own decisions. People just tend not to. People would rather just let other people think for them. They don't want to think for themselves. They'd rather just have somebody tell them what to believe. And like,
man, you know what that is, right?
What's that?
People are too lazy to do they're too lazy and overstimulated to do their own fucking research.
Yeah.
They're too like people are more inclined to log on to social media, log on to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and look at political pages and look at what someone's trying to tell you and believe that versus actually figuring out, okay, how does this hurt my community? How does in Marius's, terms of speaking, how does this hurt my family? How does this hurt my community? No one wants to do the research on that. Everyone wants to hear something or turn on the TV or look at what's on CNN or look at what's on Fox or MSNBC or all these places when you should really be doing your own freaking research. And everyone's not gonna be this one box or the other. But I think that people have allowed the social media and the media to push them into boxes to further divide us.
Yeah, this is the truth, unfortunately. And you're right. People would rather just have someone else think for them. And in terms of laziness, it's like because it's easy that way. It's like, hey, I don't have to take control for my viewpoints and stuff. I can just look at this and watch this. And you see it. I mean, there's people that sit around and watch CNN all day. There's people that sit around and watch Fox all day. You know, it's just they'd rather listen to the talking heads. I'm going to be honest. If you watch any of those media outlets, they're going to be skewed one way or the other. So one could be skewed. If you're watching Fox, they're going to be skewed to hate the Democrats and hate, you know, like all that. If you're watching CNN, they're going to be to hate Trump and hate like the conservatives. It's just kind of how it is. That's why sometimes it's actually better to just like read I have a free subscription still to the Wall Street Journal. I check like the business section and the economy. That's a big proponent for me is the economy. Like when I'm thinking about like the president. So, you know, I think of the economy. Everybody's views are different though, like of what they believe in. That's why I think when you're voting for like a person in power, like no matter if it's a presidential election or, you know, whatever other, you know, Senate, like House of Representatives, whatever you're voting for, think of who the best person, like in your opinion, is to rule to either run the country for the presidential election or whatever election or whatever position you're voting for. Think freely and make your own decision using critical thinking. Like, don't just go with like whoever the next person is telling you. Even if you got family members that are voting a certain way, you don't agree with it. You don't have to vote for who your family members agree. And number one, when you go to a poll, nobody knows who you're voting for anyway. Like it's confidential. So that's just with voting, but I would also say with other viewpoints too. You don't just have to agree with what the next person tells you. Like
Right.
you can have friends that don't have necessarily the same views as you, and that's okay. Like think for yourself and think freely. It'd be like if a guy went on a date and like he's trying to impress a girl, and like the girl says, the guy goes, "Oh, I like the color blue." And she's like, "I don't really like blue. I like the color red." He's like, "Hey, you know what? Blue's okay, but red is a better color." It's kind of just like you're just seeking that person's validation in a way. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna just agree with you." It's like, dude, do you like stand for anything? Do you have morals? Do you have something that you actually stand for? Like, stand on your principles. Like, that's something we need to be better at. We need to be standing on our principles.
Right.
You know?
No, I agree, man. It's one of those situations, and I just want to say, stop cutting off your family members for who they voted for. Like, one, to be honest with you, it's not your business. To be honest with you, it's none of your business who your family member votes for, because that's who they had confidence in. And if you feel like they're ignorant or they haven't done their research, then that's on them. That's their decision, you know. And I feel like it's wrong to attack somebody for their personal decision. That's like me attacking you for picking what kind of food you wanted to eat tonight. And saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna talk to you. It's taco. It's you eating pizza on. It's Taco Tuesday. You eating pizza. I'm moving. I'm taking my shit. I'm getting out of here."
Damn straight, man.
Crazy.
You got some? Yo, you got Rich. You got something to say about my toppings?
Yeah, that's gonna be Marius.
Exactly.
Marius is like, you eat a salad. You know what, man? I can't talk to you no more, man. I'm going to eat me.
No mas. I'm out.
Exactly, man.
I can't be friends with you. You ate a salad, bro. I'm done.
Exactly. And going back to what Steve was saying, instead of watching Fox News or CNN, why don't you just watch the Locked In podcast? There you go, man. Call it a day.
True. There ain't no censorship over here.
Call it a day.
You know, let's get some of those views, man.
Bro, we take all viewpoints here, man. If anybody ever wants to come on here and talk, bro, let's have an honest conversation. I'm not judgmental. I'm not going to attack someone because they don't have the same views as me. At the end of the day, like, I'm all about us, you know, having honest discussion. I do always try to understand the other person's point of view, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because I think that's important, like, to understand, like, their logic and stuff. And sometimes you'll notice if you ask, like, questions, people are like, "Oh, why are you asking me that question?" It's like, you don't need to get defensive. It's not coming from a judgmental stance. Like, when I ask someone a question on something, it's not coming from a judgmental point of view. I'm just trying to understand your viewpoint. Like, that's all. But I feel like we become so divisive that everybody feels like they're being attacked. Like, "Oh, you know, like, what you're attacking." No, like, it's just, you know, you can't ask. It's hard. You know, you fear asking questions because people go, "Oh, why are you asking me that?" It's like, but that's how we have honest conversations, and that's how we break down these divisive barriers.
Yeah.
Mario knows there's a perfect example. We were in the car years ago, going somewhere, someone who's not be named, and they've been on this podcast before, so we've already had discussion on this. We were in a car, and he like said about like somebody who like the guys in the car voted for, like including me, Marius, and like Larry, and he's just like, oh, I forgot I'm in a car with a bunch of fucking scumbags. Like, he just got mad, like, out of nowhere. I'd be like, whoa, 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 dude, like, chill, bro. Like, what's going on? Like, gonna ask him a question. He's like, I'll get out of this car right now. He just got, like, really upset, man. Like, I was like, bro, like, and honestly, we were not having, it was like a conversation. And it was a very, very just like normal conversation. Like, nobody was making fun of anybody or attacking anybody. And the conversation just went it went left real quick. Like, we're just like, bro, like, what's going on here?
Got
like,
emotional, man. That new age feminism got him.
Bro,
got more emotional.
Exactly, bro. And like, yeah, and Mario knows what I'm talking about. Like, this
Yeah,
is
man, it's hard to have conversations like that, man, when somebody gets emotional. Like,
yeah,
but they'll, like, dude, it's crazy because one little thing you say, man, they could like pop off at any time, and I'm just like, I don't want to be associated with people like that, dude.
Yeah, and I'm happy to say, like, this person's come a long way since then. It was years ago. Like, they, I don't, like, from the conversations I have with them, they don't ever get like that nowadays. We just have conversations about, like, and everything's like very, very, like, just we keep it real. But I'll be honest, like, you don't want to have to walk on eggshells, because if that had progressed, it'd be hard to keep a friendship with someone who every single time you talk to them, you got to worry about them, like, taking something to offense and stuff. And I remember even after it happened, when we got to our destination, I asked him, like, yo, everything all right, man? Like, I remember I, like, put my arm around him. I'm like, bro, what's up, bro? Like, you good? Like, what's going on, dude? Because I'm trying to, like, figure out, like, where you're coming from here. Like, why would you get, like, so like, it shouldn't have to be like that. We shouldn't have to, like, just attack someone because, and the conversation was not, like, even though us three voted maybe a certain way, he didn't, we weren't bullying him. Nothing started that type of conversation like that. But this is unfortunately just a product of what the media is today, bro. It's just dividing us. And
yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's just crazy. It's like, it got emotional real quick. It was a personal attack. They started personally attacking.
And I bet you didn't even have the chance to tell them why or what you based your decisions off of. You didn't even have the chance to do that, right?
Not because because emotions running high. You can't have a conversation with somebody who's about to get off the rails. I mean, you're probably not going to be able to get a word out.
Bro, it's crazy too. You see, like, how it goes to a personal attack. User a bunch of scumbags. Oh, I forgot I'm showing a bunch of scumbags. Bro, then, like, if you really believe that we were scumbags, then why are you out hanging out with us right now, bro? Come on, man. Let's be realistic here, bro. Like, you wouldn't be hanging out with us. Oh, I forgot I'm hanging out with a bunch of so-and-so. I'm not going to say, like, so-and-so voting scumbags. Like, dude, like, like, it went off real quick. It's a personal attack.
It's not that deep. Like,
yeah, it's a personal attack.
And everyone has their own experiences. Everyone has their own point of views. Everyone has their reasons for doing things. And if you don't trust your friends or people who you're close to that they have their reasons and their thoughts and their own opinions, like, everyone has the freedom to have their own thoughts and opinions. And I think that's a part of what some of these movements are taken away. They're actually counteracting the movements that we should be going when it comes to against some of these government regulations and some of these new laws that they're trying to push and some of these things. I mean, while we're sitting here arguing about certain topics, isolated topics, or about while we're sitting here and we're arguing about the smallest stuff having to do with political correctness, they're slipping in and they're changing our children's curriculums in the schools and exposing our children to things that we never asked them to. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that bothers me, is that I'm a big proponent, and I think people have a right to express themselves in any way that they want. I think that that's a God-given freedom. But I do think that if someone's still a child, I don't think that a child should be getting someone who's a minor, who their brain isn't, it's scientifically proven that your brain isn't fully grown, should be allowed to be making decisions over their parents unless their parents are just not fit to parent. But to take a strip of parents' power away and allow kids to change their bodies, like, I think it's wrong. I think that, of course, when you become an adult and fully grown into yourself, and just fully adult that's confident and knows what decision they want to make, I think that's right. But if you're doing things and you're taking away personal power from parents. The government's trying to regulate, parental decisions now. I think now some of this power is getting taken from our families, and it's kind of being done really quickly and indiscriminately while we're sitting here arguing over, whether I should be called black or whether I should be called African American. That's what we're arguing about. That's what our arguments are about.
Rich, you know what the crazy part was about the whole curriculum thing? Most parents didn't even know that their children were even being fed that BS, man. It wasn't until COVID happened that everything got shut down, and a lot of kids were, either getting homeschooled or they were having like classes virtually. That the parents started to finally pay attention to what was actually being in the books and in the curriculums, and that's how they ended up finding out about the bullshit that was being fed to their children. So like it was absolutely crazy, man, how like the schools and the teachers and all this shit, man, they were just trying to undermine the parents' authority and trying to get to the children. And mind you, these are minors, this is elementary school we're talking about here, man. But the parents had no idea, bro, because they were busy working all the time and stuff like that, trying to provide for the family. But it wasn't until shit got shut down and they actually started paying close attention, and that's when they realized what was fucking going on. So it's just fucking scary, dude.
Giving them sexual books and stuff like that when
Yeah,
you shouldn't
why?
be doing.
Yeah,
And I
why are
don't
we
care if you're
sexualizing?
straight. I don't care if you're gay, straight, bisexual, whatever. Why are you giving my 4, 5, 6 year old sexual books on people having sex? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like in general, why are you doing that? It's just
Children,
kind of perverted.
yeah, children are so impressionable, bro. You're absolutely right, man. At a young age, man, children are impressionable. We're a lot of parents are failing their children. They're failing their children because as an adult, you have more knowledge than your child has. You've seen life more. You have the knowledge to make the correct decisions as an parent and adult. Like you said, when a child becomes a certain age, hey, when they're an adult, they can choose to do whatever they want to do. But like children are very impressionable. Their brains and their mind, their frontal cortex, everything's not fully developed when they're a child. They don't have the knowledge too, and the experiences also to make the correct decisions. So the why, and that's what I'm saying. Like the curriculum, the whole thing, that was just disgusting. It was like parents didn't know about it until these kids were homeschooled and stuff. Why are we sexualizing like books? This isn't not only that, but it's also in like TV shows too. So like I was at my barber shop like this a few weeks ago, and my barber's telling me he's got 2 young kids, and his son's like about to be, I think he just turned 4, and he was used to watch a show, and like they were sexualizing the cartoon characters in the show. Like I think one it was like a trans like a trans like T-Rex, and the other one it was like a gay parrot, and he's like, what is going on in these shows? Like at the end of the day, I agree with you, Rich. No judgment on if you're gay, straight, whatever you feel. Honestly, I have family members that are gay. I have friends, people like I associate with that are gay, and good. You are free to make your own decisions, and some of those people are some of the most,
Right.
genuine, nicest people you could ever meet. Like great people. I have no judgment on that at all. But why are we putting a sexual orientation on cartoon characters? When was this ever a thing growing up? This was never a thing. Why are we sexualizing characters for cartoons for children? Like children are impressionable. That is super dangerous. It's like kids are going to grow up being confused. They might not even be a certain like affiliate, like slot a certain way, but they'll think something because they're impressionable. We should not be sexualizing, shows for kids or curriculum for kids. That should not even be a thing. It should not even be a thing. And that's a problem. It's like good for parents, like finally recognizing and stepping in there because, but that's a scary thing. If these kids hadn't been like, having to, do their schoolwork and be, go to school from home and stuff like that, who knows how long it would have taken to discover this stuff, in the curriculum. Like, who knows?
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. I mean,
Scary.
even the number of teachers that are trying to have sexual encounters with kids has gone up significantly than what it was in the past. And I think, I think I thank God first and foremost that a lot of these teachers are getting caught and a lot of this, but even I mean, they have kids on Good Morning America stripping down on stripper poles and dancing and then you see clips of them dancing exotic dances in front of grown men. Like, what in what society is this okay? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I
you
don't
go.
know if you know what I'm referencing or talking about, but they have kids now who are doing who are and listen, they're so young, like 10 years old, 9, 10 years old. So someone's teaching them this behavior. This isn't something that a 9 or 10 year old just says, I want to be a drag queen and I want to strip in front of grown men. That's not something that's normal. That's not something that's nah. You listen.
Not at that age. No, that's
That's
not.
like
It's not
that's
normal
like
for a.
me at 9 or 10 talking about I want to go out to the bar and talk to some grown women, like and have alcohol at 9, 10 years old, going out to the bar. It's not nothing that's associated with nightlife or any type of exotic anything should be associated with kids. Allow kids to grow up, allow kids to grow into themselves. Anything associated with these things is something that's not right. And I feel like a lot of this stuff is kind of happening in the background while we're busy over here trying to be politically correct, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they removed shame from society, Rich. That's what happened. They remove shame from society and they're glorifying all this bullshit, having kids, fucking do stripper dances and shit like that. I'm like, they remove shame. When you remove shame from society and when you remove religion, when you remove that buffer, and people don't feel that pressure anymore. This is the result that you get. And there's no parent in the household. You know, there's no father in the household. There's nobody there to teach them right from wrong. I mean, if you're paying attention to the media or whatnot, if you're allowing the media to, let your kids grow up, that's the environment that they're going to be in. But it goes back to, society removing shame and removing religion. And this is the results you're going to get.
yeah, absolutely. It's the unfortunate reality. It's just that it's honestly just become it's just become horrible. It's just like honestly this like now we have to monitor.
It's become horrible because, bro, I don't want if I have like future children, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want them to grow up in the society that we're currently dealing with in right now, man. I
Yeah,
mean, when we were growing up, when we were kids, man, we didn't have this BS to worry about. We didn't have social media. We didn't have woke culture, man. We were fortunate that we grew up in a time frame where we had normal childhoods. And
yep.
I feel so bad for the kids of today, man. I really, really do because they're on their, phones and tablets and computers the whole fucking day, man. They're not out there socializing and shit like that. I mean, when we were young, bro, I mean, my mom literally had to scream at me to, get me from playing outside with my friends and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It
me
just
too.
it sucks. It's awful, man. I really, really feel bad for the kids, but I definitely don't want my child to, my children, to grow up in the society that we're in, man. I want things to change. I want things to change for the better, so our children's could have better futures to look forward to.
Yeah, and it's really a shame. It's just like I don't judge because I see some parents, it's tough, especially if they're single parents, trying to be there for their kid, work full-time jobs, sometimes two jobs, and try to do everything. But sometimes like they utilize the tablet just to get a little bit of a break. It's unfortunate, and I don't ever try to judge people a certain way, but it has been kind of crazy too. And like I had a former boss, and he was like, Steve, I told my son to go out. This was years ago when I used to work overnights. And he's like, he would have his son go out and play and stuff. And his son would come back like 10 minutes later and be like, Dad, everybody's inside. Like, like nobody was outside playing. He's like, oh, can I just go use my tablet? Like, cause like no one else is playing and stuff like that. So we're very fortunate that we grew up in the era that we did for sure. It's crazy with all the apps too, like TikTok and things. You just have to monitor what your children are doing. So like if you just give your kid a tablet and let them free reign, like go on TikTok and do other things at 5, 6 years old, that's completely different. You have to have parental controls on your kids' tablets too. Make sure you understand and know what they're consuming and what they're watching. And so my barber was like, he's like, dude, I didn't even know like that this was going on in the show. And he's like, once he found that out, he's like, you're not watching this anymore. Like this is done. Like he took it away. Him and like and his wife. He's like, you're not doing this anymore. You're not watching this. And he threw up a fit and everything. And he was upset. And even like a year later, he was still asking about the show. And he's like, oh, they canceled it. Like, he's like, oh, they canceled it. It's not on anymore. Like, but he's like, dude, like it's crazy. Like they he was like crying and screaming to watch it and stuff. He's like, nah, like he took it away. He's like, that's a perfect example. Is you don't give into like your kids. You got to be the adult and the parent. And look, if that's something that you're not cool with, And to me, I wouldn't be cool with it either, personally. You know, if that's something that goes against your boundaries and what you believe in and what your kids should be consuming, you gotta be the bad guy, right? The bad guy. Your kid's gonna get upset, they're gonna cry. It is what it is, though. You know, you can't be the best friend of the child all the time.
That's the key right there. You just said it. You have to parent them. You can't be their best friend. And
Yeah,
too many
exactly.
times nowadays, man, parents are best friends to children, and they don't parent them correctly. And that's the result that you get nowadays, man. You
Because the
get people
parents on
crack.
Instagram too, man. The parents on Instagram too, looking at the kids doing the TikTok stuff and the dances together with their parent. They want to be those parents that how can you say are socially accepted. You
Yeah,
know, but you know, like
and that's fine to like do dances with your kids and stuff. That's cool, but like when it comes down to make tough decisions, you got to be a parent too. So like it's critical. Like I know people like that, you know, like Mario knows, or my boy James. Like he does sometimes TikTok dances with his daughter and stuff like that. But he's a great father. Like he knows that, you know, disrespect is not going to be tolerated in the household. So it's like you can still, you know, be on, you
but
know,
that's
like
a
that,
balance.
but also
That's a balance
right?
though, right? That it's parents that
Exactly.
out here that do that stuff and they trying to
And
be a
let the kids
friend
walk
like
them.
outside of that. You know what I'm saying? Like those are parents I'm talking about, are the ones who like
Yep.
they try to do these things that they would do with their friends. And then
Like
on
my baby
outside
can
of
do
that,
no like my baby can do no wrong. Like your child's like they think their
no
child's
accountability. No accountability, Steve.
bro. You're right, and you know what, man? I've seen it firsthand. Like I know there's a grown men in their freaking mid-20s now. Mario gonna know. I know some people I'm talking about. They pedestalize their children as freaking kids, and now to this day, like they're in their 20s, spoiled, rotten brats, man. Like they think that they're like entitled to like all this different stuff, and it's like. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, like, I feel sorry for it because, like, you know, you'll respect your parents a lot more when you grow up, if they act like a parent younger. I'll tell you what, like, you know what I mean. You'd be like, I'm happy for how my parents raised me, man, because they didn't, you know, they had to parent, you know, they had to, you know, they punished me when I did bad shit. You know, you reward good behavior, but you punish bad behavior, man. Like you respect it a lot. Your character development as a result of that is gonna you'll see what how they grow up. Like if you're pedestalized as a kid, you're gonna grow up thinking that the world owes you something. The world doesn't owe you shit. I'm gonna be realistic. The world, and you know, a lot of people probably don't want to hear that. The world don't owe you shit. Like if you get pedestalized as a kid, though, you're gonna grow up thinking that. You know, it's all right to spoil and treat your kids right, but there's a difference between spoil. Though I don't mean spoil them to be a spoiled brat, but to give your kids the things that you never had. But there's a balance. There's a very critical balance. You can give your kids the things you never had, but guess what? If your kid acts up and they're disrespectful, you got to punish disrespectful behavior. You have to.
You gotta put your foot down.
Yes,
I
Yeah.
agree.
absolutely.
Because if you don't punish them,
too many people are afraid to do that though. That's the problem.
yeah, and if you don't punish them, somebody else will. Listen, this is this is another thing people are crying about the cops and stuff. But listen, if you don't want to listen to nobody and you don't think you gotta listen to nobody, this is why a lot of people don't like police, is because police will slam your ass down if you
Yeah.
don't listen. If you don't know how to listen, and you want to fight cops and you want to do stuff. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this right now, but I come from a family that's military, that's law enforcement. You already know my background.
Yeah.
Former probation officer. And I seen people who thought that they had a choice to talk back to authorities, or especially like when it's found that you did something wrong. You know, if you did something wrong, you know, there's some people who know how to own up to it, and that's just because they were parented well. You could tell,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, all right, dang, I know I effed up. Like, let me just take this, DUI test, and let me just take this, do whatever I got to do. You know, I accept accountability. Those are the people that actually get breaks. Those are the people who are actually, listen, you obviously for a DUI, you're not going to be let off with a warning, but you know, every once in a while they will be like, yo, do you have someone who could pick you up? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could get someone who could take you home or pick you up, you know, that's something that is a sorry, I don't know if I'm going in and out with y'all right now, my connection, but sometimes, you know, like I'll give you an example. My mom was speeding, right? This is when we were in Georgia. Can you hear me, or
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
hear you,
yeah,
man.
yeah. I hear you fine, bro. Yeah, I got the notification too up on the left. It was something with the connection, but no, you're fine, bro. I hear you
Yeah.
perfect.
So my mom was in Georgia. She was speeding, right? But obviously, my dad at the time, he was corrections. But my mom didn't even mention this. But she had apologized to a police officer, like, "Dang, you know what? I was speeding. I'm kind of in a rush today." And the officer was like, "You know what? It's cool. I'll let you off from a warning. You know, just don't do it again." But people nowadays like was like, "Well, why the fuck you stop me? Da, 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 what, I've got somewhere to go. Get the fuck out of my face." Da, 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 all that, bro. You think that officer is really gonna give a shit about where you gotta go at that point? Well, you're
Yeah,
talking to him like
I'm
that.
only going 60 miles per hour above the speed limit. It's not that bad.
yeah. It's entitled behavior, man. That's the thing. Like, yes, like I agree with you, bro. Like, I know a lot of people in law enforcement, and different things, and in military as well. And the thing about it is it's a respect thing. Are there dirty people in the industry? Absolutely. There's definitely a small percent, but it's a lot smaller than I think people think. Do we need to be better in that aspect? Yes. But the thing about it is like not every law enforcement or military personnel is a dirty person, is a bad person. Like most people join the force and join the thing isn't for power and corruption. Majority of people who join the force, they join it to literally to I will say money is probably a motivator because you get a nice pension and stuff like that. Let's be realistic here. But it's also to honestly do the right thing. And if they a lot you have to have a passion behind it though. I'm gonna tell you what, if like you go into like law enforcement, anyone I know that's ever gone into law enforcement just for the money, they probably hate their job. Majority of them do, like because they didn't go in for like the passion behind it, like actually serving their community and you have to go in with a completely selfless mindset, and any of my buddies who are like police officers in the city and stuff, they'll say that. The military is the same thing. You know, perfect example, Desi had been in the military, she had told me before, if she tells people who are thinking about going in, like, if you're going to go into the military and you're not doing it for the right reasons, you really need to like think about it because it's if you're just going in for the benefits and stuff, you don't really like what you're doing. Really think about that before you do it because once you sign your life over to them, you sign like the next 4 years of your life at least over to them. It's a little bit different than a police force. You could essentially be a cop, go through the academy, work the job, and not like it, and you can find another career. But when you sign over to the military, they're getting you for you could probably even say at least 4 years, right? Like they get you at least 4 years.
At least 4 years.
At least for the next 4 years, they got you. So there ain't no backing out of that. I mean, you could fake a sickness or something, but like but I'm just saying they got you for the next 4 years, more or less. So you really got to think about it. But the main point is not everybody's a bad person and stuff. But you're right. If you go into a situation with an entitled behavior, I got somewhere to fucking be and all this other stuff, it's like, what makes you think you're not treating them with respect that they're going to treat you with respect now? It didn't have to escalate to there, but because you have a certain view of how you view all officers or certain people, you're just going to escalate a situation that didn't need to be escalated like that.
That's like them thinking because you're driving a Buick that you're a drug dealer.
Yeah.
That's like you're categorizing now. And it's like with law enforcement, they're individuals too, just like anyone else. They're people too. Just as much as you think some people think law enforcement is dirty, is as much as people can think they're clean too. You know what I'm saying? At worst it's 50-50. But would you rather risk putting yourself in a position to where you're putting yourself in a tough spot, or would you rather just be chill about it, be cool, and keep it moving? 9 times out of 10, if you're chill about it, you're cool, and no one's not gonna give you any issues. And I've been stopped before. And I've been stopped and I haven't mentioned that I was a probation officer in the past, or I haven't mentioned, and I was cool about it, and they let me go with a warning. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be, and they appreciate respect just goes a long way, man. And I think that in the households, where a lot of our kids are watching and stuff, they're into seeing kind of what these rappers are doing and all these things. A lot of what these rappers and stuff is doing, they not even doing what they tell you they doing. They doing
Exactly.
they doing what they tell you they doing so that they can make money because it's the popular thing to do, right? And so it's a popular thing to say f the police or it's a popular thing to say I did this, or I broke into this house and took this. That's kind of like what they try to push, but that's not what they actually do. So they're making money off of influencing people. This is why influencers are so popular right now. Is because it's a market to influence people in a certain direction. But if you notice, a lot of the people who are influencers are paid to influence us in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
So this is
exactly.
why things are going, downhill, is because who's paying these people to influence us in the wrong direction, right? Who's paying these people? How does it make sense?
Well,
Listen,
yeah,
we live in a society where people get paid to go into Walmart and smack the living crap out of somebody in the face.
yeah. Bullshit sells too. I'll tell you that, man. A lot of these influencers, you could have 30 million in net worth or whatever in the bank, but it doesn't mean that they're right or their viewpoint is correct compared to other people just because they have $30 million. Now your influence, your view of someone is going to shift when they have money because you start to believe, oh, they got to be credible because they have money. I was just listening to a podcast earlier today on that. But bullshit sells. A lot of times these influencers can sell you bullshit, and that's how they made their money, just by selling you bullshit. And bullshit absolutely sells, man. Lies sell, bullshit sells. You know what I mean? Like people can, say different things. But I also think like I don't ever push religion on people. I think the entitlement, a lot of it comes from a lot of people just aren't God fearing anymore, man. There's just no humility in these people today because they don't stand for shit. They don't have like morals or they don't have anything they stand for. It's like, I feel like if more people, whatever you believe in, whatever religion, or if you don't believe in religion, that's cool. But, a lot of people just aren't God fearing anymore, man. Like it's just, there's no humility in these people. It's a lot of entitlement. A lot of it is consumption of all the bullshit around them, all the media and all the bullshit. They'd rather be surrounded by, all these like distractions in life. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with pleasures, but just make sure they don't consume you. Like, but a lot of these people, they were either probably pedestalized as children. Like I said, it's a dangerous thing. You raise your kid, put them on a pedestal. It's like what do they say when a guy goes like is dating a woman and all they do is pedestalize the woman. It's the same thing with the kids. You pedestalize your kids. This is what they grow up to be a lot of times. They grow up to be this entitled brat. I've seen it firsthand. No humility. It's like, the world don't owe you nothing. But a lot of people feel like the world does owe them something.
Yeah, man. And this is, I know all this, we're getting into the avoiding societal traps, woke culture, and some of the influences, right, that are being pushed upon our culture and our children and our families. And I know it says like maybe this is getting a little bit down and depressing, but this is why Steve put in his lineup leveling up in 2024. So Steve, what are your observations on how to level up from these things, right? If you have our parents who are tuning in, who maybe have a child that's a little bit rebellious, or they have a situation where they don't necessarily know where to start when it comes to, okay, I have these habits, or I see some of this stuff in my house. How do we change that? How do we flip that into a positive?
That's a great question, man. I think it's a good transitioning point too. I would say like on this podcast we talk personal development a lot. I would say it all kind of goes back to the trifecta of personal development. I always preach on here that the three big things, and fuck all the other bullshit, the distractions, the pleasures. That's great, entertainment. I remember when Reagan came on here a few weeks ago, he said there's nothing wrong with watching Netflix, but if all you do is like work and then go home, watch Netflix and enjoy like the different pleasures, watch porn, do all this other stuff, you're letting your pleasures consume you. Focus on the trifecta of personal development, because there are three big things that I think are the biggest things that you could focus on that are going to give you the most reward in this world. And they're not in any specific order. Your health, your wealth, and your relationships that surround you. And you want them to be positive relationships. So your health, obviously paramount. That's your physical and your mental health. You want to make sure that your physical and your mental health is in order. Physical health can be anything from just fueling your body correctly. I'm a big energy proponent. So like if I feel like shit, how am I going to be able to achieve my objectives throughout the day when I feel sluggish and I feel like trash? Fueling your body correctly, exercising, mental health, making sure you meditate. If you're dealing with a lot, don't be afraid to, explore therapy options and talking to people and stuff like that. Don't fear like, reaching out for help. I would say with wealth, focus on your mission, focus on your purpose, because the money comes when I feel like you really focus on that. Figure out what your purpose and your mission is in this life, and try to do things each day to gain more expertise in that field, whatever it is, to gain more knowledge, learn more, and try to just level up your income. I was just having a conversation today with somebody, like literally early this afternoon, and I was saying, people always say like people who have money isn't everything, but like whoever said it was, I always say this, like money might not be everything, but it is a tool. That's how you have to look at money. It's a tool, and it can help you enhance your life in many different areas. Now, money becomes a problem when it becomes greed and it becomes consuming of your entire life, and you neglect those other areas, your health, your relationships. Like if you neglect those areas just for your wealth, then yeah, it can become a problem. But sometimes it is hard to balance, like especially if you're in a certain part of your life. Say you're really trying to build a business or build your purpose and everything. So still make sure you garner those relationships, but they might just have to, they might take a backseat for a little bit, but make sure at the end of the day, like, everything kind of comes full circle. And then your relationships, like very important, your family, if you have kids, your children, your close friendships, all those things around you, make sure that you're helping strengthen those relationships and making sure that those relationships are positive around you. I say if you can focus on those three areas, it's still okay to have pleasures, but if you can focus on those three areas and just trying to improve each of them, I personally think that if you can, those are the areas to level up in. I'm not sure what your guys' thoughts are, but I think amongst all the chaos that we see in this world today, you can't go wrong with trying to level up those three areas of your life. I'm not sure what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Do you want to go, Marius, or I can? You want me to go, or?
You can go, man. I'll go last.
So, I'm gonna just put in my 2 cents before I use the restroom real quick. But one thing I will say is this: I agree with everything you just said right there. Speaking specifically to some of the issues with kids not going outside and things of that nature, because I feel like a lot of the adults are probably going to be able to kind of absorb what you're saying and apply it to their life. It's kind of harder to when your kids have certain negative habits and stuff up and things that they're doing, that, like you said, your barber told his son to kind of, hey, we're not watching the show. And it was a big ruckus about that. Like I feel like, number one, for not only just your kids but for yourself, try to find some type of passion or extracurricular that you can do. Now, it could be a hobby, but preferably something that keeps you active and that gets you outside, right? Because the chemicals in the brain that affect depression and anxiety are, one, sunlight, right? And also exercise, and also your absorption of what type of diet that you're on. Now, the thing is if you can get your kids into a sport that they can be preoccupied with instead of on the streets or being on a tablet or a phone, being influenced by someone who's paid to tell your kids that it's okay to live stream jumping somebody or something like that. This is just random. I don't really, this is things that I hear because I work with kids and stuff like that. And I mean, kids are doing crazy stuff right now. And so you want to get them on a team. You want to get them around other kids that are focused on an objective or a goal that is going to be in their best interest for the time being. That doesn't have to be sports. It could be a chess club, right? It could be a debate club. It could be a ROTC, a military oriented, structured background. And worst case scenarios, and some of the worst case scenarios, listen, some kids got to get sent to military school. If they're not willing to listen to your rules, they're not willing, you're constantly facing disrespect. You either got to put them in programs like mine, which are diversion programs. It's after school, it's regimented. We're usually going over coping skills and anger management. But the thing is that it's really important is we know that these kids, their peers influence them. It's impossible. It's impossible. I was influenced. We're all of us in some way, shape, or form. We're influenced by peers in ways that our parents couldn't reach us. But if we get around a group of peers that have purpose, right, that have drive towards accomplishing something, it could be a state championship, right? It could be a local winning a local kind of Thanksgiving bowl or whatever, make the playoffs on your football team. Whatever goals that they have, it's better than having the goal of trying to be like someone you're not.
I agree. Own
I
who
agree.
you are.
I agree as well, man. Going back to what Steve said, man, health is absolute wealth. In order to get anything done in life, man, you first have to be healthy. So if you got to get a medical checkup, if you got to get your dental things done, which I'm taking care of right now, don't put it off. Get it done right now if you're able to, because the longer you put that thing off, man, the more it's going to affect you health wise. You got to get your money on point. Got to start putting those hours in. Save as much money as you possibly can because we're seeing it right now. We don't know what direction the economy is going to head in. They're saying that we could be in we're near a recession, or some people are saying we're already in a recession. You're seeing the housing market go absolutely bonkers, mortgage out the ass, rent through the roof. Average working Americans who make $45,000 to $50,000 a year, they can't even barely afford a fucking studio. So save as much money as you possibly can because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring, and just have humility, be humble. Thank God for every second you're here on life because you could be here today, and guess what? You may not be here tomorrow. So you gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy it, and you gotta make the best of every moment.
Agreed, man.
Facts.
Very well said. Yeah, very well said. Yeah, that's the whole thing about it is like those are the main three areas I really believe, and it's like humility along the way as well, and that kind of goes to our relationships and how we communicate with other people and stuff like that. I feel like we've become such a reactive society. It's like when we actually don't have to do that, we stress ourselves out over nothing. It's like there's no reason to you don't have to react to everything somebody says and everything somebody does, but just focus in the areas that you can control. Like I said, like those are three big areas, and I feel like if you can work on those and become full circle, you're gonna feel the most fulfilled in your life. Pleasures and everyday entertainments and other distractions around us, they make you feel good in the moment. Like say like watching porn, watching movies, listening to music and stuff. Like those things are good. Eating unhealthy foods. Maybe smoking, drinking, whatever. These scrolling on social media all day, but you feel like shit later. Like you know what I mean. You're gonna feel like shit because if all you do is sit around and consume other stuff. I just know some of the most miserable people are people that consume pleasure all day. It's like, yeah, you get the short term, you get the dopamine hits, but guess what? It also makes you less inclined to go for the challenging things in life. Like it's not easy to build up your money. It's not easy to get up and build your body and work out and to restrict yourself and eat healthy and to be social and work on your social skills and strengthen relationships around you. Those things aren't easy, but the pleasure that you get from doing those things is going to be a lot stronger than the short dopamine hit you get from the other short-term pleasures. And it makes you less motivated to go do those hard things the more you take short-term dopamine hits, because you'll be like, why should I go do that when I can just turn on the television and watch this? Why should I go do that when I just go? Why go out and try to meet just coming from a man's point of view? Why go out and try to meet a woman when I can just go watch porn? Why, you know what I mean? It's things that make you unmotivated because you can get that quick dopamine hit without actually having to do anything. And that's the scary thing that's a societal trap right there, because everything has just become so digital and everything's at our fingertips. So we can get dopamine hits like that now. But you have to put the work in. There's no short term for the real dopamine hits come from when you build a great legacy in this life. And that's that's the most priceless thing you can do in this life.
Yeah, we're becoming lazy. We're becoming lazy as humans. We're becoming lazy as society. Everybody wants to take shortcuts. Nobody wants to put in the work anymore and stuff like that, man. It's crazy. If you look at previous generations, man, everybody had to work for a living to achieve, what they wanted. And you look at now, people just, they become so entitled that they expect everything to be hand fed to them. I mean, nobody wants to work for it. Everybody wants handouts, and it's I really don't like the direction in which we're going.
Yeah, everybody wants a quick fix. When it comes to money, people want quick, fast money. That's the thing. What do they say? Fast money is fast money is doesn't last money. That's how I like to say it. Fast money is doesn't last money, like because fast money just don't last. When it comes to health, people would rather just take magic fucking pills to like lose weight and like other shit, like rather than actually putting the fucking work in to just build a healthy lifestyle. They'd rather just take. Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. I was at the doctor's was like a month ago, and like that's the doctor. She's like, they're the nurse. She was like a CNA. Yeah, yeah, she was a nurse, and she was like literally saying people our age would rather just take a fucking pill than like literally like than actually put the work in to just build healthy habits. Like it's crazy, but it's also not that crazy because people just want quick fixes, and especially in this digital age, we want results quick. We want them at our fingertips. Um, Another one when it comes to garnering relationships, people would rather socialize over text messaging, Facebooking, Instagramming, DMs, rather than actually physically fucking meeting up and having adult conversation and stuff. And the more you do that and hide behind the screen, the harder it is to build your social skills. The more you isolate yourself, the more nervous and more awkward you're going to be in person. It's just how it is. The less you step out of that comfort zone. Same thing with money. People want to spend money, but they just don't want to. It's difficult to save and invest your money, right? It's not always easy, but like you said, we're right on the verge of a recession, if not already in one. And
Do you mind if I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead,
before you
brother.
move, I feel you're moving on, so I wanted to drop some
Go ahead, brother.
stats to kind of back up what you're saying about the fast money thing. So
Yes,
Steve
sir.
just mentioned like fast money doesn't last money, right? So like according to, let's say best case scenario, right? Like in all of us, like we kind of have this dream of winning at a casino or winning at a lottery, right? Let's say we luck up. The chances are a whole other subject, but this is what I
Yeah.
really want to get onto. So, according to Reader's Digest, life after winning the lottery may not stay glamorous forever. Is 70% of lotto winners lose or spend all the money in 5 years or less.
Wow.
70%.
Wow.
And it doesn't matter if they win 500 million or 1 million. That money 70% of the time and 5 years or less is gone. For 70% of them. And
Shoo, that
5 years or less, the money's gone.
500 million. That's crazy. I cannot imagine spending $100 million a year for the next 5 years and just blowing it. It's crazy.
Poor
It is-
financial habits. Not making the right decisions. Probably having leeches surrounding you. Being surrounded by the wrong people. I mean, and you probably not don't have a backbone. Probably can't say no. When you have all these factors in there, I mean, it's hard to fathom, hard to imagine. Spending $100 million each year to eventually to the point where you get broke. But I mean, the first thing I would do if I had $500 million, I would hire the best accountants, I would hire the best financial managers, and I would do the smart thing and I would invest that money and grow it, and then let that 500 million become 1 billion, let that 1 billion become 2 billion, and on and on and on and on. So that way,
yeah,
not only am I rich, but I'm also enriching my future generations.
bro, perfect, perfect. Like I would do that. I'd have my finances side in order, and I would also hire a personal chef to cook me the healthiest, most and tasty meals at the same time, so I can keep my health in order. I don't have an issue with going to the gym and stuff, so I'd have my own gym, just like I'm taking care of my health, take care of my wealth, and then I can still enjoy my life. One of the biggest things I always want to do is travel, so I would 100% travel the whole freaking globe. Anywhere I want to go, I'd travel for sure, but that's a perfect example, man. Most people don't think to do that accounting work up front, man. Then it's when it becomes too late. Kanye West has a song on the one album. It's called "Life of Pablo," and he goes in the song at the beginning of it. He's like, "Yes, I can't say no to nobody, and at this rate, we gonna both die broke." He's like, "Got friends asking me for money, knowing I'm in debt." And he's like, "And like my wife said, I still didn't say no." That's just like Mario, like you just said, bro. There's a lot of people that don't got backbones, man. They'd rather just say he was just preaching a message, but I'm like, that's real though. Like it's
No,
like
it explains the stat. I mean, 70%. That's fucking insanity. I mean, I
it
know
is.
people,
Bro.
waste their money, but my God, 70%. I'm like, damn. Oof.
I ran
You
into
know?
a guy at Retro Fitness years ago. I don't know if I ever told you the story. Years and years and years ago. It might have been like 2013, 2014. And it was when it was still open. And the guy was actually working out. And like I don't know how we started talking, but he literally said he had won $1 million in the lotto like years ago, and he blew it all. He literally told me, he's like, yeah, I got addicted to drugs and all this shit, bro. Like, and he blew all the money. He said he won like I think $1 million or $2 million, bro, and he blew it all. He's like, I'm trying to rebuild my life. I'm like, bro, that's fucking wild. It was like $1 million or $2 million he won. He didn't win like 500 million, but still, it's $1 million, $2 million, bro. If you win $1 million, $2 million, you should be set for the rest of your life if you handle it correctly. You do the right things with it. You invest it. You do it right, bro. The first thing I would do, man, is I had that type of money, bro. Real estate properties right away, bro. Like I'm gonna find ways to invest, bro, and find my money, and then I'd still have money left over. You know, if say you want to start a business, you could start a business with it. Do the correct things. Now, if you just go blow your money on all liabilities and shit, you're gonna lose you can blow $1 million, $2 million real quick.
Yeah.
500 million is crazy to me, man. I mean, it doesn't shock me, but at the same time, it's 70%, man. Even $500 million, that's just freaking. You should just be absolutely fucking ashamed of yourself. You blow $500 million.
Yeah. I wonder how many islands they bought.
Bro, like, dude, like that's what I mean when you blew money. Did you buy assets? You could sell those assets. Like what did you buy? Like you blew $500 million on liabilities. Like, bro, what? Like,
Yeah, it's hard to feel sorry for that.
Nah, you can't,
Nah,
man. But it just goes to show you, man, when something's like going back to our original conversation, fast money. People who didn't work for it have less they have less what's the word for it? Less hesitation with parting with that money. You see what I'm saying? When you worked your ass off to get what you had, you say you're a self-made millionaire, self-made billionaire. You worked your ass off for your family to get where you're at. You're going to be less likely to just part with that money so quickly. You're going to think about those decisions you make. But I also say this too. Most millionaires will tell you if they're self-made, if they lost all their money tomorrow, they'd be a millionaire in a year or two again. Because once you have the ability and the steps to figure out how to become that level, it sticks with you. You can build those habits again to do it again. Now, if you're handed money tomorrow, those people that burn that money through the lottery, they never ever understood how to get that money in the first place. They won it out of luck. So they may never ever see $1 million ever again once they blow it.
Yeah, I mean the way that I see it, if you don't respect money, money's not going to respect you.
No. That's why I said people say, oh, like money is people say money's not everything. No, but it's a tool. It can enhance your life.
And it makes life easier.
Absolutely. Zach actually commented here. Our boy Zach Round from the West Coast side. Zach, what's up, brother? He said facts. Appreciate you, Zach. Hope all is well, my mans.
Let's go.
That's what's up. Thanks for supporting the show, man.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree, man. I just feel like a lot of these millionaires, these self-made millionaires that we're talking about, the reason why like someone could rob them with $2 million and they're going to be okay is because a lot of these guys already got multiple streams of income up. Like they just got so many returning like assets, like you're talking about. Like they just have so many. They've started these cycles in their life. It's multiple cycles of just obtaining money, multiple cycles of profit that just keeps coming back around. It's like they have multiple businesses or multiple investments that are money making machines going on all at once. So I'm looking forward to continuing to learn and to put myself and to start like even with us as men who are coming up and learning different things and growing, like us, like just having one extra money stream or income stream, it's a pretty big deal,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, something to think
You
about.
got to start somewhere.
Yep. And that's the critical thing is when we're trying to level up, not comparing yourself to other people too. Because say I'm comparing myself to someone who's already a multimillionaire. It's big goals to get to, but don't feel down about yourself because you're leveling up a certain way. Everybody's life course is different, but just make sure you're taking positive steps to put you in the correct direction. That's what I would say. Try to learn from people that have already done it, and don't compare yourself to where everybody's at in life. that's why relationships are important too. The people around you are very important because you're hanging out with people that have no interest in leveling up their life, and you're trying to level up your life. Good luck. I mean, you're going to be weighed down by these people who are just, surrounded by societal pressures. If they're just trying to get high every day or just drink every day, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with these things, but it's just like if they consume you, it's when it becomes the problem. But if that's all they're trying to do, like, with just distractions all the time, if they're not trying to level up their life, they're going to weigh you down. It's just how it is realistically. That's why it's good to surround yourself by like-minded individuals. And Zach had commented here too. He said, "Hope all is well." Thanks, brother. Hope all is well with you too, man.
Hope you're doing good, bro.
Yeah, Zach's a warrior, man. That's literally the name fits, man. Tumor warrior, man. This guy came on the show back around the holidays and talked about his story of surviving brain cancer. He's a brain cancer survivor. This guy's a warrior. He does more like there's people that have like Zach could have every excuse in the book to not work his ass off from all the surgeries he's had gone through. I think it was like 30 something surgeries this guy's been through and all stuff. And in his 20s, like on all the stuff he's been through, this dude's a freaking warrior. This dude like gets up every day and fucking crushes it. Like it's inspiring to like when this guy came on and shared his story, like every excuse in the book to not want to continue and shit, and he still gets up. So like if anybody's got, guys, check out that episode if you haven't. I forget what episode number it is, but you can go back through our archives and go see. But if you need any type of motivation, go watch Zach's story. Zach is a fucking beast, an absolute beast.
Yeah, you definitely need to bring him back on.
Yeah, oh absolutely, he'll definitely be back on. Yeah, he's absolute beast.
You said his name was Zach?
Yeah, Zach Round.
Yeah.
Round. Yeah, and you can find him on I think his Instagram handle is the same exact thing as here. So it's I think it's Tumor Warrior 67 is his Instagram too. So I'll look it up right now for you.
Yo, shout out Zach. Yo,
Absolutely.
you're a beast, man. You're a legend for real.
Yeah.
For
Tumor
real.
Warrior 67. You can find him on Instagram
Thanks.
too. He's got all his shorts, all his clips. He's a mountain biker too. Like this guy's a beast. Beast.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. I'm right now, man.
Yeah.
Fuck cancer.
Exactly, man. Fuck cancer. Dude's killing it. And it's, see, like he could have had a victim mentality. Zach didn't have that. Zach was a warrior. He didn't have a victim mentality. He's like, I'm not going to be a statistic.
All right, Zach. I'm following you now, buddy. You got me, man.
Cool, man. Cool. So, like, yeah, dude, beast, absolute beast. So, if you need any motivation, there you go. I'm gonna put you onto that right now. Go check that out because he came on not too long ago. Came on around the holidays. He also came on for one of the football ones too because he's I think he's a Broncos fan. So we talked and we did like something with like around the Super Bowl too. He came on. Oh yeah,
what a shame. Then they have to deal with Andy Reid. Now they got to deal with John Harbaugh too, man. Oh. Poor Broncos. Poor Broncos.
That is true. That is true, man. They have to deal with a lot over there. John Harbaugh and I'm trying to think what's there's nothing going on with Vegas, right? Or
I don't think. I don't think. Yeah, they haven't been relevant since Gruden left. So
yeah, the other week link. Yeah, but guys, as we said, check out anything related to football with the Eagles and stuff. Check out Rich's channel, Rich M Media here. Dude, I'm excited to see your channel, man, because you're a football based channel with the Eagles, man. And as we kind of get closer to like the end of the off season throughout the summer and stuff, man, we're gonna have some more content to kind of come forward, man. We had a lot with the draft, but dude, I hope the summer does not fly by. Number one, I hope it takes its time. But before we know, football season will be here, and that's when we'll. That's an exciting change in the calendar, though. Pumpkin everything and football season. It's the change in the calendar when it happens. But I hope
you can say that again, man. Shit.
Yeah,
I could go for some pumpkin coffee right now, dude.
Man, you crazy. You can have some pumpkin coffee right now and probably sleep like a baby. Like after all that caffeine.
Actually, I'll take that back, bro. Make it 2 pumpkin coffees.
Man, this is a good conversation, though, man. That's how you know, bro. We were supposed to go an hour. We went an hour and about 40 minutes here.
Yeah, we definitely need to do a part 2 on this.
Yeah,
especially more on the financial
agree.
aspect of it, too, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But guys, it was a pleasure doing it with you tonight. You know what I mean? Like these episodes are great. And this is a conversation that we have to have more often, because it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, tough conversation, but I would actually love to have a panel on here, men, women, kind of like we did After Hours. And maybe
we have to
panel.
get more input from the women in this. I think so. So I do agree that part 2 should be a panel of a lot more people. Like if we can get a lot more people in here, probably about 6 to 12 folks, I think that would be a good number.
That'll be our, you know what? That'll be our next After Hours. It doesn't always just have to be sex and relationships and all this other stuff that we talk about with After Hours. We can actually do like with the woke culture and everything like that. Like I think controversial topics are good for After Hours type episodes. I think, dude, as of right now, man, we're in the 9 o'clock hour, man, and I actually haven't been in this hour since the After Hours because we went on a little late tonight. But dude, around this time is when we'd already be doing After Hours, because we used to do those. We kicked those off at 9 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time usually. So you know what? Our next After Hours episode, that's what we're going to do. We'll do like something surrounding part 2 on this woke culture. We'll have a panel of men and women on here, and we'll get to get our thoughts on here.
What are the chances we get canceled?
Yeah. You know what, man? I would love to have people from both sides too. People that are like more conservative and people that are more liberal. I would love to have it. Just have an open honest conversation. Some people,
Rich, you wake up tomorrow morning, bro, you see Rich on Media banned.
Yo, YouTube podcast and Rich on Media have been taken off YouTube.
All my videos pulled down by YouTube. Everything, like, dang.
They're like, you were connected to that Locked In podcast. We took you down too.
Banned me off of Facebook for a year. Permanently banned off of Twitter, permanently banned off of Instagram. Well, actually, Musk got Twitter, but I don't have a Twitter anyway, so they can't ban me off Twitter. But
well, looks like we're going to Rumble, boys.
You gotta keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, I was gonna say they have the. What was I going to say here? No, I was going to say, like, we're going to have a panel of people on here, and some people are going to get emotional upset. They're going to be like, I'm off of here and just leave. They're going to report us. If I go to Facebook jail, bro, I'm going to have to call George up, being realistic. George has been in Facebook jail quite a few times. I'm like, yo, bro, what do I do?
How do you get out? How do you break out?
George was bragging about it. He's like, oh, they put me in Facebook jail tons of times, bro, trying to shut me down and censor me.
Imagine you say like, what I gotta do to get out, and you go to Facebook headquarters, and like, Dan Schneider's over there with some feet.
Boy. George is like, they're always out to get G, like out here on Facebook and stuff.
He's like, God, you
got one phone call. Who are you calling? I call George up. Yo, George, what do you do? You've been in Facebook jail many times. Oh
man, it's crazy.
But yo, fellas, it was a pleasure doing an episode with you guys. We'll be back next week. We got a guest lineup for actually next 2 weeks, 173, 174. I'm excited. Summer's going to be kicking off in a couple of weeks. It's going to be Memorial Day weekend. So it's crazy. We're almost already at Memorial Day weekend. Literally, we're about 2 weeks away.
All right, man. Looking forward to being on that boat with y'all, man. Let's go. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. That's the official kickoff of summer. Just hoping the weather holds up.
Yeah, you watch. We're going to be out there, man. It's going to be like 20 degrees, dude.
I'll take these rainy weekends now. Just make it nice in 2 weeks. Make the weather nice. It'll be below freezing for you, man. How's that sound? Exactly. Well, all right, fellas. With that being said, it's been a pleasure hosting you guys. Thank you guys for joining. Have a great night, and I'm sure we'll be talking throughout the weekend. You got it, man. Good seeing y'all. Have a good night, man. Take care, guys.
Take care.
All right, bye.